Hello, this is Photography Gamer, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm reviewing the Callisto Protocol. It's out on PlayStation, Xbox and PC. The Callisto Protocol is a survival horror game developed by Striking Distance Studios. The game was directed by Glenn Schofield, the co-creator of the Dead Space series. Okay, gameplay. Well, you play as Jacob, a freight pilot who ends up in Black Iron Prison on Callisto. But it becomes clear early on that something isn't quite right on Callisto itself. Basically, all hell breaks loose and you're left to fight for your life, and the game features some of the most engaging, visceral and ferocious hand-to-hand combat I've seen since The Last of Us. And it is a basic system that doesn't require you to memorise 17 button combinations. You simply move to dodge and batter the enemies with a stick to a bloody pulp. Love it. At times it did remind me of like a boxing game, as you and the creatures fight in these close quartered situations like you're trapped in a phone booth. Really amazingly tense stuff. But worry not, you've got guns at your disposal too, and a glove type item that allows you to use gravity to grab objects and even throw enemies into spiked walls. It isn't a perfect system though. For example, when you fight in a staircase, you can't aim your melee attack down, meaning you'll be swinging at fresh air. But great combat would be nothing without great enemies, and great enemies is what we have here. They're varied, they're grotesque and very creatively designed. It's a shame that this level of creativity was not applied to the industry standard and quite dull level design. I'd say it's also got to be one of the goriest games that I've played in years, with some god-awful death scenes, my goodness. All of the weapons that you have can be modified at these handy 3D printers, which act as kind of nice peaceful interval sections where you can save your game. But it's not all good. As I said, the level design is pretty tired and predictable, and the find a switch, find a fuse, repeat gameplay makes you just feel like an electrician in space. General play isn't much better. Walk down a corridor, then a tunnel, then pick up an item, take it to a doorway, then you enter a large square room and oh look, there's a wave of enemies. The doors are closed. Kill the enemies. Oh, the doors are open. There's got to be a better way than this, right? Saying that, I would say the story is very well written, but it does, I would say, lacks context, as you're thrown into this kind of mess, this chaos, with no real reason to care for anybody involved, because it's not really got any sort of setup. The prologue, I think, could have done a much better job of introducing the character, the narrative, the history, etc. Now, the base game isn't the longest, but there are several DLCs. Sadly, I feel like it's a bit of a cheap move from the developers, the publishers, because they've put even things like new game modes behind DLC, which I think is a big no-no. And I think the base game is so short, really, that all of this DLC feels a little bit like a cheap move. But there you go. This is the industry, greedy pigs. What can you do? Graphically, Callisto Protocol, I would say it's a dream. It's a beautiful game. The visuals are stunning. The monster design is horrendous in a good way. The lighting, the use of lighting is perfection. It's just very immersive. And the fact that you've got no real HUD as well, that's also very immersive. The sound work is the highest possible standard. Excellent voice acting, wonderful effects. The musical score, you could have lifted this out of a top-end sci-fi movie. Really wonderful, wonderful stuff. Okay, good and bad points. What's good? The graphics are sensational, the sound work and score are amazing, and the close quarters combat is madness. Bad points. The level design is tired, the story felt a bit disjointed, and there wasn't enough context early on to care about your character. Also, paying for game modes is embarrassing. Embarrassing. Okay, verdict. The Callisto Protocol is a solid survival horror experience with amazing graphics, good sound, and visceral close quarters combat. Sadly, the rest of the game felt a bit lacking, and most of the time you'll be left with this sense of, I've been here before in many other games in the genre. It's very predictable by the numbers. Yes, the melee combat stands out when you're fighting to the death in a phone booth type scenario. Very intense, but sadly the rest of the game just does not live up to that kind of atmosphere. So it is worth a look. Yeah, it's definitely one for Dead Space fans. Maybe not to pick up full price. Get this on the sale. I think you'll probably enjoy it. Scoring, I'd give the Callisto Protocol, I'd give it 7 out of 10. Okay, that's the review. Thank you for watching. This is Photography Gamer signing off. Cheers.